When people talk about moving to Washington, D.C., they usually talk about neighborhoods. I want to move to Georgetown, DuPont, Capitol Hill. But neighborhoods don't actually change because of vibes. They change because of projects. And in this video, I'm breaking down the 5 DC neighborhoods people are actually moving to right now, and the specific projects and developments that explain why. This isn't a hype list. This is about walkability, transit, amenities, value, and real investments quietly reshaping the demand across the city. Because most people move after these projects are finished, but the smartest movers understand them while they're still unfolding. And the last neighborhood we'll cover is the most controversial neighborhood in DC, but it might have the biggest long-term upside. But before we start, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you're notified every single time I post about DC real estate. Now here's the lens for the entire video. People don't move into neighborhoods, they move into trajectories. Projects change how people move, how long they'll stay, and how connected a place feels. So let's start with the clearest example of modern DC growth. Navy Yard, also known as Capitol Riverfront. What used to be industrial land is now one of the most dense and active waterfronts in the city. People are moving here daily because life is built in. You've got river walks, you've got parks, you have Nationals Park within walking distance, bars, restaurants, and nightlife all clustered tightly together. You don't need to leave the neighborhood to have a good weekend. But the real driver here is the project called The Yards. The Yards is a master planned waterfront development that adds public parks, trails, restaurants, and high density housing right along the river. This project reset expectations for what DC neighborhoods could be. It's proved that density works, that walkability drives demand, and that amenities change migration patterns. Transit matters here too. With the Green Line and a tight street grid, living in Navy Yard without a car is realistic. The neighborhoods make sense if you want modern buildings, strong amenities, waterfront access, and you're comfortable paying a premium price for convenience and polish. The trade-off is character. You're not getting the historic DC charm here. This is highly activated, highly curated, and never really quiet. Now, if Navy Yard feels a little too polished, let's move somewhere still actively evolving. NoMa and the Union Market area. NoMa is the most transit-connected neighborhoods in DC. It sits between downtown, Union Station, and Capitol Hill. People move here because commuting is easy. You got direct metro access, Union Station nearby, bike infrastructure, and fast regional connections. But transit alone doesn't create demand. The project that changed everything here is Union Market District. No longer just a food hall. It's a multi-phase redevelopment with apartments, hotels, offices, public plazas, and cultural venues. Union Market turned NoMa from a commuter zone into a destination. This matters because neighborhoods need non-work reasons for people to be there. Food, events, nightlife, public gathering spaces. That's what creates the stickiness. NoMa makes sense if transit access is your top priority, you want dense urban energy, and you're okay with living in a neighborhood that's still changing. The reality is that the area will feel under construction longer than a lot of others. You're buying momentum, not a finished project. Now let's talk about a neighborhood where personality comes before polish. The 8th Street corridor in the Atlas District. 8th Street is not master planned, it's an entertainment corridor. It's energetic, loud, alive. People move here because the restaurants, the bars, the venues, the music, and the cultural scene are phenomenal. You've got renovated row homes mixed with apartment buildings. You're close to Union Station, NoMa, and Capitol Hill without being inside the federal core. There isn't one single project driving 8th Street. The project is the corridor itself, the streetcar infrastructure, the incremental infill development, cultural anchors like the Atlas Performing Arts Center, its organic growth. That's why 8th Street feels real instead of curated. On top of that, the new RFK development is not too far from 8th Street, making these property values projected to increase dramatically once infrastructure is done. If you want more information on the RFK development, be sure to check out this video here. The neighborhood in 8th Street makes sense if you prioritize nightlife and culture, you're comfortable with some grit, you want appreciation potential without an already mature pricing. The trade-off is noise. 8th Street will never be quiet. That's the point. Now let's look at what a fully mature central DC living area looks like. Shaw and Logan Circle. This is one of the most walkable areas in the entire city. You can live here without a car pretty easily. People move here because everything is close. you're close to downtown, you're close to U Street, you're close to DuPont, you're close to multiple metro lines. There's dense clusters of restaurants, cafes, boutiques, and bars. There isn't one single project that's transformed Shaw and Logan Circle. The project here is time. Decades of infill developments, historic renovations, transit access, and layered amenities. This is what a finished DC neighborhood looks like. You get a mix of historic row homes, converted buildings, and newer luxury condos. This area makes sense if walkability is a non-negotiable for you. You want to live in the middle of everything and you're willing to pay for that location. The reality is that this isn't an upside play. This is a lifestyle play. And now the neighborhood people argue about the most controversial neighborhood here in this list, Anacostia. Anacostia is one of DC's most historic neighborhoods, and it's in an earlier stage of change. People are moving here because the entry prices are a lot lower than much of Northwest DC. There's a historic housing stock, and there's a significant public and private investment that is coming in. The project changing everything here is the 11th Street Bridge. This is a public park built on top of a former bridge connecting Capitol Hill directly to Anacostia on foot. Not a road, not a highway, a park. The Anacostia River has long been a physical and psychological divider in DC. This project collapses that distance. When people can walk somewhere, perception changes, foot traffic increases, and demand soon follows. What a lot of people miss though is that the park itself isn't the full story. It's what happens around access points, small business, community spaces, housing demand, all within walking distance. This project was also designed with anti-displacement strategies, which matters in historically Black communities as such. Anacostia makes sense if buy-in price matters, if you're thinking long-term for sure, and you value authenticity over polish. The reality is that this requires patience. It's not an overnight change. And as I mentioned, Anacostia is one of the most controversial neighborhoods because it can get tough. But let's zoom out. The 5 DC neighborhoods people are moving to right now are Navy Yard, NoMa and Union Market, the 8th Street Corridor, Shaw and Logan Circle, Anacostia. Once you understand the projects, that migration pattern just makes sense. This isn't about hype neighborhoods, it's about where the city is structurally investing in. Cities don't change overnight, they change project by project. And if you understand the projects, you understand the future. Now, if you made it this far in this video, be sure to share this with somebody that you know is moving into the city, trying to figure out the best places to look at. Because if you click the link in my description, it'll take you directly to my DC relocation guide that I made specifically for people looking to move into the city. And as always, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that bell so that you're notified every single time I post about DC real estate.